Mia sat at her desk in the small marine research center, staring at her phone for the third time. The message from her mother looked the same, yet each word felt sharper. Mia, I think it's better if you don't come to Ella's wedding. You'd ruin the atmosphere. We want everything perfect for her special day. Mom. Her hands trembled slightly as she set the phone down beside her laptop. Outside the window, the Seattle waterfront stretched gray and endless, the sky matching the ache in her chest. She was 29, a scientist, and somehow still the family disappointment. She leaned back in her chair, listening to the low hum of lab equipment. Everyone else had gone home, but she stayed late, trying to bury herself in coral reef data instead of emotions. Her sister Ella was getting married in 6 weeks. Younger by 3 years, prettier, louder, and forever the golden child. Ella had found the kind of man their parents adored. Brian, a corporate banker with a perfect smile and a trust fund. Their engagement had been announced at the country club, and the wedding would take place at a fancy vineyard near Portland. Mia wasn't just uninvited, she had been erased. She scrolled through her phone, finding that the family group chat had removed her. Only a cousin named Beth had accidentally sent her a screenshot of it. Pages of excitement about flowers, menus, and decorations, but not one word about her. The door to her office opened, and Liam stepped in, carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee. His dark hair was damp from the rain. He took one look at her face and quietly set both cups on the table. "What happened?" he asked. Mia hesitated, then handed him the phone. He read the message, his jaw tightening. "Your mother actually wrote this?" Liam asked, shocked. Mia gave a small laugh that sounded hollow. "That's her style, direct and cold." Liam shook his head. "It's cruel." He sat down across from her, waiting as if he knew she needed to speak. "Tell me," he said softly. So she did. She told him about being the forgotten daughter, the one who chose science instead of social status, fieldwork instead of parties, passion instead of popularity. "When I won a national competition at 16, she said quietly, "they didn't even come. Ella had a dance show that night." Her voice cracked. "That's how it's always been." Liam reached across the desk and took her hand. "You know this says everything about them and nothing about you, right?" Mia looked down at their joined hands. "I've heard that before," she whispered, "but it doesn't erase 30 years of feeling invisible." She tried to smile, but the pain in her eyes gave her away. "I've spent my life trying to make them proud. They never even noticed." Liam leaned closer. "Then maybe it's time you stop trying," he said gently. She looked up at him, her heart heavy yet curious, a tiny spark of change flickering inside her. That night, the rain beat softly against her apartment window. Mia sat cross-legged on the couch, scrolling through old photos. Birthdays, holidays, all filled with Ella's glowing face at the center. In every picture, Mia stood at the edge, smiling politely. Her phone buzzed again. A new message from Ella. "Mom told me she uninvited you. I'm sorry, but maybe it's for the best. The wedding is really formal, and you know how you get awkward at those events. I just don't want anything to go wrong on my big day." Mia's throat tightened as she read it twice. Her sister's words felt worse than her mother's. Liam called her not long after. "You okay?" he asked. "Not really," she said. "Ella thinks I'll ruin her wedding just by existing." There was silence for a moment before Liam spoke again. "Come over. I'm making pasta." She hesitated but went. His apartment overlooked the harbor, filled with warmth and soft light. He greeted her with a hug that made her feel human again. "You deserve better than them," he murmured. She sat on a stool, watching him chop vegetables. "You know what's funny," she said. "I don't even hate Ella. She's just blind. She lives in a world where she always wins." Liam poured wine into 2 glasses. "Tell me something," he said. "If they never change, will you keep letting them make you feel small?" Mia frowned. "That's not easy, Liam. They're my family." "Family isn't about blood," he said simply. "It's about who shows up for you." She thought about that while the smell of garlic filled the air. Then you're the closest thing I have to family, she whispered. He smiled faintly. Maybe that's not such a bad thing. They ate quietly, the sound of waves below mixing with their laughter, and for the first time that day, Mia felt a little lighter. After dinner, they washed dishes side by side. Liam glanced at her, hesitant. Have you thought about what I asked last month? Her heart skipped. You mean? Yes, he said softly. Marry me. He had proposed weeks ago, holding her hand in the same kitchen, telling her he wanted forever with her. She'd asked for time. Now, with her family's rejection still stinging, she realized what mattered most. Yes, she said quietly. I want to marry you. Liam froze. You're serious? Completely. He set down the dish and wrapped his arms around her, laughing as he lifted her off the floor. When he finally set her down, she was smiling for real. We should celebrate, Liam said, brushing her hair from her face. Should we tell your family? She shook her head. No. They made it clear I'm not part of Ella's big day. I don't need their approval for mine. He studied her face. Then what do you want to do? Mia looked out at the dark water beyond the window, the lights reflecting like stars. I want something real, she said softly. A wedding that feels like us. Not for show, not for perfection. Just love and truth. The next morning, Mia woke with sunlight streaming through the blinds and the faint smell of coffee drifting from the kitchen. Liam was already up, flipping pancakes with an energy she admired. Good morning, fiancé, he said, grinning. She laughed, still not used to the word. That sounds strange. Strange but right, he said. As they ate, she shared her idea. I don't want a grand wedding like Ella's. I want something simple, something that feels like home. Liam nodded. Beach. Sunset. Just people who actually care about us. She smiled. Exactly that. For once, planning something felt like freedom, not pressure. Later that day, Mia called Beth, her cousin. I'm getting married, she announced. There was a long squeal on the other end. No way. Finally. When? 8 weeks from now, right after Ella's wedding. Beth gasped. You're serious? Your mom will lose her mind. That's not my concern, Mia said, laughing. I just want something honest. Beth's voice softened. You deserve this, Mia. You really do. They talked for nearly an hour, plotting ideas. Wildflowers, bare feet on the sand, sea breeze instead of chandeliers. It felt good to talk to someone who celebrated her happiness instead of judging it. Mia began reaching out to the people who truly mattered in her life. Her team from the Marine Research Center, friends from grad school, and mentors who had guided her career. When she called Dr. Patricia Lane, a renowned marine biologist she had admired since childhood, the older woman's warm voice surprised her. Mia, my dear, what a lovely surprise. Mia explained her plan. A small beach wedding that reflected the community she loved. Would you come? She asked nervously. Of course, Dr. Lane said, her tone bright. In fact, I'll make a few calls. Let's make this something truly special. Over the next few weeks, Mia's world filled with quiet excitement. While Ella's wedding dominated social media with luxury updates and perfect photographs, Mia's plans unfolded like a secret blooming under the surface. Beth sent her screenshots from the family group chat filled with napkin debates and color schemes. Your mom just wrote 3 paragraphs about champagne labels, one text read. Mia smiled, unbothered. For once, she didn't feel left out, she felt free. Her life no longer revolved around their approval. Her happiness no longer needed their applause. Each new step toward her own wedding felt like reclaiming herself. Dr. Lane kept her promise. Within 2 weeks, several respected scientists had confirmed their attendance. Researchers, oceanographers, even a filmmaker who had once documented Mia's coral studies. You realize your wedding guest list reads like a science conference. Liam joked one night. Mia laughed. They're my friends, she said. And they actually care about my work. Deep down, it touched her to be surrounded by people who valued her mind, not her image. The venue came together too. A quiet beach on Whidbey Island, owned by one of her colleagues. Nothing fancy, but every grain of sand felt like peace. 2 weeks before Ella's wedding, Mia ran into her father at a coffee shop downtown. He looked startled, like he had forgotten she existed. "Mia," he said awkwardly. "You look well." "Thanks, Dad." "You must be busy with research," he said, glancing at his watch as if even small talk cost him time. "Your sister's wedding is coming up. Big moment for the family." "So I've heard." The silence stretched between them like an empty street. He didn't apologize or even mention the uninvitation. "Good to see you," he said finally before walking away. Mia watched him go, feeling strangely relieved. The day of Ella's wedding arrived bright and flawless, just as her parents had planned. Mia spent it barefoot on Whidbey Island with Liam, the sound of the ocean replacing the chatter of hundreds of guests. "You sure you don't want to check the photos online?" Liam teased. "Not a chance," she said. Her phone buzzed anyway. Beth sending updates with playful commentary. "Your mom just bragged about the imported roses again." Another message followed. "Ella looks like she's in a perfume commercial." Mia smiled, lying on the sand. "Let her have her day," she said. "Mine's still coming." That evening, Beth called from her car, whispering as if she were hiding. "Mia, you won't believe this. Your mom actually wondered where you were today." "I was uninvited," Mia said dryly. "She thought you might show up anyway, just to prove a point," Beth continued. Mia chuckled. "That's not my style." "Good. Because honestly, Jules." Beth paused, catching herself. "I mean, Mia, it was all fake smiles and bragging speeches. You'd have hated it." "Then I'm glad I missed it." For the first time in her life, Mia didn't envy her sister's spotlight. She had her own light now. 3 days later, Mia received a call from Dr. Lane. "Mia, my dear, I have exciting news." A documentary producer reached out. "They're creating a series about ocean conservation and want to feature your research." "Mine?" Mia nearly dropped her phone. "Yes, yours," Dr. Lane laughed. "They saw your published work and were deeply impressed. I may have also mentioned your upcoming wedding. They'd like to film part of it, showing how scientists celebrate life while protecting the planet." Mia blinked in disbelief. "You're serious?" "Completely. This could bring huge awareness to your work, and to real love." When she hung up, Mia sat in silence, heart racing. Liam came in from the balcony. "You look stunned. What's wrong?" "Not wrong," she said slowly. "Incredible." She told him everything. "They want to film our wedding, Liam. Make it part of a documentary about ocean conservation." He grinned. "Our wedding's going to be on TV." "Sort of," she laughed. "But it's not about fame. It's about showing what matters. Purpose, people, love." Liam took her hand, eyes bright. "Then let's do it. Let's show them what real looks like." For the first time, Mia believed she could. The filming team arrived 3 days before the ceremony. A small group led by a woman named Sophie. She was calm, professional, and surprisingly kind. "We're not here to make a spectacle," Sophie said as they unloaded cameras and microphones. "We just want to show the heart of what you do. Love, science, and purpose." Mia smiled. "Then you're in the right place." She showed them around the beach house, the wooden deck facing the calm blue water, the rows of simple white chairs already arranged in a crescent on the sand. "This is perfect," Sophie said softly. "It feels honest." The next few days moved in a blur of laughter, interviews, and small moments that felt real. Sophie filmed Mia and Liam walking along the shore, hand in hand, talking about coral reefs and conservation. She filmed them cooking dinner, sharing stories of late nights at the research lab. Mia didn't feel like she was performing. She was simply living, and for once, the world wanted to see her truth. When Liam's family arrived from Ireland, their warmth filled the beach house. His mother hugged Mia like she'd known her forever. "We're so proud to call you ours," she whispered. The night before the wedding, the atmosphere on Whidbey Island was full of quiet excitement. Guests began arriving. Familiar faces from conferences, professors whose work Mia had once quoted in papers, and even a few journalists who admired her research. Dr. Lane arrived with her usual grace, accompanied by several other prominent scientists. "You've gathered quite the crowd," she teased. Mia laughed nervously. "I just invited friends. Friends who happen to shape global ocean policy," Dr. Lane said, smiling. "You should be proud." Mia's heart swelled. These people weren't here out of obligation. They believed in her work, and in her story. That evening, Mia's phone buzzed again. 3 missed calls from her mother. She hesitated, then listened to the voicemails one by one. The first was polite but distant. "Mia, we heard a rumor you're getting married. Surely it's not true since you'd tell us." The second carried irritation. "If you're actually doing this, we have a right to be informed. You can't just exclude your family." The third message was pure condescension. "A beach wedding. So informal. And you've invited strangers but not us. It's unacceptable." Mia stared at the phone, then quietly deleted them all without a word. Beth called later that night. "Your mom's furious," she said, half amused. "She's been calling everyone trying to get details about your wedding. And now Ella knows too." "How?" Mia asked. The film crew posted a teaser, just a scenic shot of the island. "Ella follows every wedding venue in the Pacific Northwest. She figured it out." Mia groaned. "Let me guess, she thinks I'm trying to steal her thunder." "Exactly," Beth said. "She's convinced this is some kind of revenge plan." Mia laughed softly. "Everything isn't about her. Try telling her that. They might even show up." Mia stood at the window, staring at the moonlit water. "If they come," she said calmly, "let them. They'll see who I've become and what they missed." Beth was quiet for a long moment. "You've changed," she said. "You're not scared of them anymore." "No," Mia replied. "I'm finally free of trying to earn love that was never real." When she ended the call, she turned to find Liam watching her. "You sure about letting them come?" he asked. "Yes. Because this time, I'll be the one deciding who belongs in my story." Liam nodded. "Then I'll be right beside you." The morning of the wedding dawned clear and golden. Waves brushed softly against the shore as the film crew set up equipment. Mia stood by the window, her hair loose, her dress simple, white cotton that moved gently with the breeze. "You look perfect," Beth said, adjusting a small flower behind her ear. "And calm," she added. "Too calm." Mia smiled. "Because for once I'm happy." Guests began to arrive, stepping onto the sand with smiles and hugs. Then, in the distance, Mia saw a black car pull up. Her heart tightened. Her parents. And behind them, Ella and Brian. "They actually came," Beth said, peering through the window. "Of course they did," Mia murmured. "They can't resist an audience." Sophie approached gently. "Mia, there are some guests not on the list. Your family, I assume?" "Yes," Mia said, straightening her shoulders. "Do you want them escorted out?" Sophie asked. Mia shook her head slowly. "No. Seat them in the back." "And Sophie?" "Yes. Make sure your cameras catch their reactions." Sophie smiled knowingly. "Understood." Mia turned back to the mirror, took a deep breath, and whispered to her reflection. "Let them see who I really am." Dr. Lane knocked softly on the door. "Ready, my dear?" she asked. "Almost." Mia smiled. "Would you walk me down the aisle?" Dr. Lane blinked, surprised, then beamed. "It would be my honor." Outside, the guests stood as the music began, soft guitar notes carried by the ocean breeze. Mia stepped onto the sand, her dress catching the light, her mentor beside her. She saw Liam waiting near the water, his expression full of love. She saw her family in the last row, her mother frowning, her father stiff, Ella whispering angrily to Brian. Mia's heart stayed steady. The ceremony began as the sun dipped lower, painting the waves gold. The officiant, an old professor from their university, spoke about love as partnership and purpose. When it was Mia's turn to speak, her voice trembled, but her words were clear. "I promise to love you without needing perfection," she said. To share every discovery, every tide, every challenge. To build something real, not for show but for us. Liam's eyes shone as he replied, I promise to see you always. To walk beside you through every storm and every calm. They exchanged rings as the waves sparkled behind them. When the officiant finally said, You may kiss the bride, Liam leaned in and kissed Mia softly, the golden light reflecting off the water. The crowd erupted in applause, not the polite, shallow kind her family loved, but genuine joy that rippled through the air. Behind them, the sky blazed pink and orange, the sound of the waves rising like music. Mia glanced toward the back row and saw her mother's frozen smile, her father's discomfort, and Ella's puzzled stare. For the first time in her life, Mia felt completely free of their approval. She belonged to herself now. The reception began as twilight deepened. Long tables lined the sand, covered with lanterns and simple food. Grilled seafood, fresh fruit, and laughter everywhere. The documentary crew moved quietly, capturing every smile and conversation. Scientists chatted about ocean currents beside filmmakers and research students. Liam's family led cheerful toasts, their Irish accents carrying over the surf. Mia saw her parents standing stiffly at the edge of the celebration, clearly out of place among people who valued curiosity over wealth. Sophie whispered to a cameraman, Focus on that, the difference between belonging and pretending. He nodded, his lens already turning. Mia's mother approached a table where Dr. Lane was speaking passionately about marine ecosystems. And how do you know the bride? Her mother asked, forcing a smile. Mia is one of my brightest protégées, Dr. Lane said proudly. Her research on coral resilience could change global conservation methods. Her mother blinked, speechless. She moved to another table where a man spoke with an Oxford accent. I collaborated with Mia on a Pacific Reef project, he said warmly. She's brilliant. Her mother's smile faded. Everywhere she turned, people spoke of Mia with respect. And for the first time, she couldn't hide behind pretense. Ella stood near the bonfire, her designer heels sinking into the sand. This can't be real, she whispered to Brian. All these people, famous scientists. It's real, he muttered, glancing uneasily around. And they all know her. A photographer from National Geographic joined their circle. You must be Mia's sister, she said kindly. Her coral work inspired one of my features last year. Extraordinary, really. Ella forced a thin smile. Oh. Yes, she's very dedicated. The woman smiled. You must be proud. Ella didn't reply. The words stuck like salt in her throat. For once, she wasn't the star of the story. Beth found Mia near the water's edge, barefoot and glowing. Your mom keeps asking who all these people are, she said between laughs. I told her they're your real family. Mia smiled softly. That's exactly what they are. Sophie approached with a microphone. Mia, would you like to say a few words? The crowd quieted as Mia turned toward them. Thank you all for being here, she began. Many of you know what it's like to be underestimated, to have your passion dismissed. But today isn't about who didn't believe in me. It's about the people who did, the ones who showed up. Her voice steadied as she spoke. I grew up thinking love had to be earned, that I had to fit into a mold I never belonged to. But the ocean taught me something different. Changes, adapts, and still finds balance. I've learned to do the same. Family isn't about blood. It's about connection, respect, and showing up when it matters. The crowd applauded, some wiping away tears. Behind them, Mia's mother looked down, her face pale. Her father stared at the firelight, unable to meet his daughter's eyes. Sophie caught every detail. Quiet, powerful, and beautifully real. After the speeches, Liam pulled Mia close. You were incredible, he whispered. You spoke straight from your heart. She smiled up at him. I didn't need to impress anyone anymore. They danced barefoot on the sand while the guests clapped in rhythm. In the background, her parents stood apart, silent observers in a world they had never understood. When the night ended, they slipped away without saying goodbye. Mia watched the headlights disappear down the road and felt no sadness, only peace. The past was leaving with them, and she had no desire to follow. The documentary aired 6 weeks later. It wasn't just about coral reefs, it was about resilience, about building a life that mattered. Clips of Mia's wedding mixed with her research, interviews, and laughter by the fire. The episode went viral within hours. "This is the most beautiful wedding I've ever seen," one comment read. "She found her real family," said another. News outlets called her the marine biologist who chose purpose over perfection. The research center's website crashed from traffic. Mia's email flooded with messages from young scientists saying, "You made me believe I can belong in science too." The fame meant little to her, but the impact meant everything. Invitations poured in, conferences, talk shows, even a TED Talk. Dr. Lane called one morning, laughing. "Mia, you've done more for ocean awareness in a month than most campaigns in years." Mia smiled. "All I did was live honestly." On social media, her parents tried to claim pride, sharing the video with captions about their brilliant daughter. The internet wasn't kind. Comments flooded in. "Didn't you disinvite her from a wedding? And maybe support her before she's famous next time." For once, the truth spoke louder than pretense. Months later, Mia stood at the shoreline where she'd said her vows, waves curling at her feet. The world had changed, her career thriving, her heart steady, her peace unshakable. She'd learned the greatest lesson of all. The best revenge isn't anger, it's living fully. She hadn't needed to destroy her family's image. They'd done that themselves. Her victory was simple: love, authenticity, and purpose. Liam wrapped his arms around her as the tide rolled in. "Still happy?" he asked. "More than ever," she whispered. "Because I finally built a life that doesn't need anyone's approval but mine."